Hello and welcome to the Peacekeeper Project. My name is Ben. Now today I want to talk about the difference between choice and free will, because there's an important distinction between the two. Now often I hear the terms being used fairly interchangeably to mean essentially the same thing, and I can see why some people might do that. But if you're really on a journey of self-inquiry, self-discovery, healing, awakening, if you really want to understand yourself, then it's important to understand the difference. Now, of course, you can use the words however you like. That's up to you. But language is powerful, and the words we use are important. So the more discerning we can be with the words we use means they're more powerful in helping us to understand ourselves. So that's what this is going to do. This discernment between choice and free will help you to better understand yourself. All right, so I'm going to start it like this, or I'm going to put it like this. Where there is free will, there is choice. But just because there is choice does not mean it's free will. So what does this mean? Well, we all have choice. We have the ability to choose. We can choose what we do, how we act, who we interact with, and how we interact. We can choose the people we have relationships with. And I'm sure you'd agree. And you've made many choices in your life. And this is just a few examples. But the question is, what makes us choose the people and the things that we do? What makes us act the way we do? What personality traits have we developed over a lifetime that influence our choices? What are the underlying impulses and forces that pull or push us into one choice or another? Is it an attraction pulling us towards something or someone? Is it a repulsion pushing us away? Is it a fear? Or is it a genuine aspiration, a curiosity, or an enthusiasm and openness to connect? So we have a lifetime of accumulated experiences and impressions. And there's a gradient, there's a spectrum. Joyful, enthusiastic, happy, adventure, connected, open. And then we have the other side of the spectrum, where it might be more sad, depression, maybe it's grief, heartbreak, or maybe it's trauma. This all contributes to our overall sense of self, and that influences the choices we make. So for example, maybe you're attracted to a certain kind of person, and you've had relationships with these kinds of people, but it's never really worked out very well. Now, you could say that you had a choice. You chose them because you were attracted to them. But what part of you actually chose them? Now, this is not about saying anything's right or wrong. This is just about understanding choice and what makes us choose. Now, this video is also following on from a previous video to really help understand why inner work and emotional work is so important. And if you have a chance, I highly recommend watching it. It's called If You Don't Own Your Emotions, They Will Own You. And I'll leave a link in the description and at the end of this video. All right, so this is choice, and we can see the limits of choice. So this is where we need another word, free will. Free will is also an ability to choose, but it's a choice not influenced by conditioning and emotional scars. It's choice without attachment. Now, I know you might be thinking, is this even possible? Is it realistic? Can we live without emotional scars? Now, it's not quite like that. We're not getting rid of emotional scars. The inner work is not about getting rid of them. Keep in mind that just because we have emotional scars does not mean that they have to influence us. Yes, especially when they're unconscious, they have deep, high charges to them. They do influence us because they have this intensity to them. And we're not aware of them, so they influence us. But this is why the inner work is so important, because with time and with patience and discipline, we change our relationship to those emotional scars. And as they decharge, they influence us less and less, and we gain more and more freedom. So we can think of free will as a goal, an aspiration towards greater freedom. It's really the goal of self-inquiry, healing and awakening, gaining greater freedom. Think of a spiritual aspirant, aspiring for enlightenment. Is it possible? Is it realistic? Well, for some gifted people, yes, they may get there. But for others, it's a goal, it's their aspiration, it's what they gear their practices towards, what pulls them. So we could think of enlightenment as free will in its ultimate form. Or perhaps we could think of free will as enlightenment in its ultimate form. So doing inner work is a moving towards greater free will. And you will start to feel this if you do the inner work. Certain impulses that used to pull you or push you in a certain direction start to fade as you decharge those emotional scars. You feel less restrictive. Now, you may not have felt that sense of restriction before, but that's because you were still in the gravitational pull of those old emotional scars and patterns. But as you do the work, that changes and shifts this relationship between you and those emotional scars. So I encourage you to use this distinction between choice and free will to help guide your practice, your journey, because I know that's why you're here, to gain a sense of a greater freedom. Even if that's not what you're consciously aware of, this is what we aspire for. This is what our heart desires, this greater sense of free will. And if you'd like some personal help or support on your journey, then feel free to reach out at peacekeeperproject.com. All right, now let me know in the comments below, was this video helpful and did it make sense? And what stood out for you the most? Now, if you did enjoy the video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. This is really the best thing you can do to help me build this channel. And if you know someone who could benefit from this video, please share it. All right, that's it for now. Thank you for being here, and I really appreciate your presence. Until the next time, quiet your mind and live from your heart.